How's it going, guys? So, Alexander Povetkin knocks out Johann Duhaupas in the sixth round with a left hook. Now, first thing that has to be said about this fight before we go any further is that Johann Duhaupas, he was understandably unprepared for the fight. And the reason why is, as we know, he took the fight on very short notice. I mean, to accept a fight like this on the day of the fight, you can expect that he isn't going to be on his A game, let's just say. So, it's really hard to say how much credit you give Povetkin for a victory like this. Duhaupas was clearly out of shape. Clearly, as we could see, his timing was off all night. He hadn't sparred for the fight, hadn't trained for it. If you're going to fight a guy like Povetkin, who's a very explosive and very intense guy to fight, you don't want to be taking the fight at short notice. I mean, it was a pretty silly move by Duhaupas to take this fight. Let's be honest, wasn't his wisest moment. I mean, he was coming off a tremendous knockout victory against Robert Helenius earlier in the year, and he had a world ranking with the WBC, so he could have got himself another shot at Wilder. But he decided to take this fight on short notice and got himself knocked out. Now, how did Povetkin look in the fight? Povetkin looked very good, fantastic shape. He was applying steady pressure. He was leading off with the left hook at times. Povetkin he was vintage Povetkin in there. He was doing what he always does, okay? He was just fighting the way that he always fights. And, he got the job done by knockout. But as I said, it's really difficult to gauge how impressive that is against a guy that took the fight in just hours. I think, how much notice did he have for this fight? Was it like 10 hours, something like that? I mean, he really didn't have much notice for the fight. So, yeah, it's hard to say. But, Duhaupas, all credit to him. He tried his best. He was using his jab. Duhaupas has an excellent jab. He really does. It's his best weapon. And we saw that against Deontay Wilder. He was able to bust Wilder up with that jab a little bit, or mess up his eye. So, and he also was very effective against the much bigger and stronger Robert Helenius with his jab. He walked Robert Helenius down with that jab, and then eventually got him out with the right hand. So he's a capable fighter, Duhaupas, but obviously he has to have a training camp, or he has to be preparing for the opponent so he knows what he's going to do, and he obviously didn't have that here. I mean, I would like to see this fight if Duhaupas had a proper training camp. I would have liked to seen it then, but oh well, doesn't matter. He got knocked out. Povetkin moves on from this now. I spoke about in my last video that I uploaded that Povetkin will probably face a suspension for testing positive for PEDs. He'll probably face, I don't know, is it a 6-month suspension, something like that? So we probably won't see him in the ring until the second half of next year at the very earliest. But yeah, he looked very good. It was a decent performance against obviously not the opponent we wanted to see. I was so looking forward to this Bermane-Stavern fight. I really wanted to see that fight. It was very entertaining. It would have been a very entertaining matchup. Would have been excellent to watch. Bermane-Stavern, I think, would have given him certainly a much more interesting test than Duhaupas did tonight. I think that it probably would have gone to the later rounds. I think that Stavern, Stavern just would have been, in my opinion, and you could see this from my final prediction and from the first prediction I made. I thought Stavern had a lot of attributes that would kind of throw Povetkin off his game a bit, and I still thought Povetkin would win, and I still thought he would win by stoppage, but I felt that we would probably see Povetkin cut. We would probably see him swollen up a little bit, and I think we would have seen him have to dig very deep in order to get the victory. So, yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame that we never got to see the fight, but whatever. I mean, Povetkin, at least he got a replacement opponent, someone to keep busy against, and it was a world-ranked opponent as well. I mean, as I said, credit to Johann Duhaupas for taking this fight. I mean, Stavern, I don't know why, he probably pulled out after hearing about the PEDs and whatnot, but, Duhaupas took the fight, and dude's a fucking warrior. I mean, really, really big up this guy. Johann Duhaupas is a brave man, and he deserves all the credit in the world. There's not a lot of heavyweights that would have fought Alexander Povetkin at such short notice. So yeah, all credit to him. He'll come back from this. I've never understood the people that say that Johann Duhaupas is a bum. I mean, I've seen several people say it, but I've just never understood it. I honestly think that the guy's a very capable fighter. I mean, he showed a tremendous chin and a lot of durability when he fought Erkan Tepe, who's a very hard puncher. And he went the distance in that fight. He lost the fight clearly, but he went the distance and he gave a good account of himself. Obviously, he showed a tremendous chin against Wilder too. Deontay Wilder is a monstrous puncher, one of the biggest punchers in the sport, and Johann Duhaupas was able to take his punches for 11 rounds. So clearly, the guy's got a good chin, and he's also very tough. He knocked out Robert Helenius. A lot of people thought he was going to lose that fight. I thought he was going to lose that fight, but he surprised me by knocking Helenius out. So clearly he's a legitimate threat to the heavyweight division, Johann Duhaupas, and he'll come back. I would like to see him come back and challenge some of these young contenders. I would like to see Johann Duhaupas fight Joseph Parker sometime down the line. I think that would be a great fight. I think Joseph Parker would certainly have a significant test on his hands with a fighter like Duhaupas. But yeah, because Joseph Parker, he hasn't shown the kind of power that Povetkin and Wilder and Tepe have shown. So clearly, that's a fight that would likely go 12. Now, as far as where does Povetkin go, we just don't know. We have to see if he gets suspended or not, and we have to see what happens. I really don't know at this point. I really don't care, guys. I just I made my feelings clear on all this PED shit in my last video. But yeah, Povetkin, he knocks out Duhaupas. He looks good doing it. It was to be expected. Like I said, Duhaupas took the fight on short notice. It's a real shame that we couldn't have seen this fight with two guys at their prime. Because I think sometime down the line, if these guys were to fight again, I think it would be very entertaining. But I'd still favour Povetkin, but I just think that after a training camp, if both guys are at their best, it's a better fight always. I mean, you're never going to see a great fight when one guy isn't well prepared. It's going to be one-sided. I like to see competitive matchups, which is why I was very excited to see the Stavern fight, and we never got that. So yeah, it was a knockout for Povetkin, but underwhelming and disappointing that we didn't get to see him in a real test tonight. So yeah, let me know what you guys think, and thanks for watching.